Hello, my name is Kyle Power, and this is my presentation in Public Administration Theory for NPA 594. In this presentation, we will talk about founding theories in public administration. More specifically, we'll talk about Mary Parker Follett and her concept of reciprocal relationships in management to create efficiency, as well as link that to some similarities in Henri Fayol's 14 Principles of Management, as well as touch on Frederick Winslow Taylor's efforts in scientific management and efficiency, and Max Weber and bureaucracy, as well as Woodrow Wilson and Frank Goodnow's perspectives on how politics influence administration, as well as kind of connect those to current practices in public administration that I have experienced with my organization. First, we'll talk about Mary Parker Follett and her concept of reciprocal relationships as it pertains to an opportunity for managers to seek input from the subordinates within the organization. This offers an opportunity for being resourceful as a manager by gaining input and gaining that knowledge of the people that are working for the organization, the boots on the ground, the subject matter experts that are doing the job, that are doing the task-specific roles within the organization to provide that input to increase efficiency and to give those managers input on how to better manage their people. In the current practices that I have experienced within my organization, I would relate that to quality improvement committees. When new procedures are rolled out or new equipment is rolled out within public safety as an ocean lifeguard within the fire department, quality improvement committees are formed so that individuals of every rank can provide their input as they utilize this equipment and fine-tune those things so that we can bring that back to management so that they can determine that these processes are working or they are not working. These are opportunities to increase that efficiency and that concept of non-coercive power sharing so that everyone has a little bit of input to kind of comprehensively work towards the same goal and achieve the highest level of public service possible, which all kind of goes back to the mission statement that is set forth by the organization. And then Henri Fayol, who is mostly known for the 14 Principles of Management, has a little bit of a similarity with the theory set forth by Mary Parker Follett of reciprocal relations by offering one of his principles as being having the initiative and allowing the employee an opinion to contribute to the organization that is similar to having that reciprocal relationship that Mary Parker Follett theorized, as well as this kind of comprehensively links itself or kind of reveals that transformational leadership of a manager by allowing that input and by giving the employee that value of their knowledge and their understanding of what they're doing and allowing them that input so that they can contribute to the organization. Next, I will talk about Frederick Winslow Taylor and scientific management and how it is applicable to current practices within my organization in public safety with the Los Angeles County Fire Department. There are many areas in which scientific management can be seen within the organization currently, mostly with the basic proficiency tests that are conducted with initial hiring practices, with becoming a new employee with the fire department in public safety. There are typically physical requirements such as a beep test, and within the lifeguard division there is a swim proficiency test where you swim a 1,000-meter ocean swim, and if you do not complete it within the minimum time standard, which is 20 minutes, you are not determined as a potential candidate for that position, as well as putting on personal protective equipment or donning your PPEs in a specific time standard, you're not competent to continue further with an academy. And these are all types of time standards that are set forth to kind of mirror the efforts of Taylor's scientific management as making very task-specific jobs within an organization, and how long or what is the time standard that they are supposed to be within, as well as for pre-hospital care for traumatic patients while on scene with trauma patients that meet certain criteria for the most successful outcome for survivability for these patients. There are actually time standards of how long you need to be on scene with these people, which would mean a very specific amount of times. Most often it's about 10 minutes that they need to be transported, and if transport to the most accessible receiving facility exceeds a certain amount of time, they need to be airlifted via a paramedic air squad to a hospital to get treatment. And these are kind of those similarities that are seen with scientific management and Taylor's theories, as well as Max Weber and his theory on bureaucracy and the organizational structure. This can be seen within public safety and public organizations throughout, where there are rules and regulations and policies and procedures. There is division of labor, where people are very task-oriented and specific to the roles that they are supposed to fulfill. Although interpersonal relationships in theory seem to be very needed and probably best off within public safety, where all different ranks are cohabitating and living together and running traumatic calls together and working in that capacity. Interpersonal relationships within the organization are probably unlikely because it's a very family-oriented organization within the fire department. Meals are a staple in part of that leadership and part of that family life of living together and working together cohesively. So I actually feel that that interpersonal relationship within the organization doesn't really relate currently with Weber's bureaucracy theory. However, most of it does seem to be applicable in current times with the bureaucracy and the organizational structure that exists. Next, in founding theories in public administration, Woodrow Wilson's dichotomy sets forth his theory on how politics and administration are separate. And in contrast to that, Frank Goodnow's theory on how politics influence administration and how those relate today. Now, in Woodrow Wilson's concept of Woodrow Wilson's dichotomy, or public administration dichotomy, is that politics and administration are separate. And the purpose of politics or the political figures within a structure of an organization, in my case with the Los Angeles County Fire Department, this would be the Board of Supervisors, that the Board of Supervisors would set forth the policy, and that it would be the responsibility of the administration to set forth this policy and make sure that it is implemented. Now, in current practice, I actually would side more with Frank Goodnow in that politics influence administration, that although political figures like the Board of Supervisors set forth policies and the administration administers and implements these policies, I do feel that in a lot of ways that they all are interconnected, and in some sense there is a reciprocal relationship with all of this, with the administration and the political side of the Board of Supervisors and the citizens that vote for these Board of Supervisors. It's all very connected, as well as the union activity that takes place and collective bargaining, which are external forces into the realm of how politics take place in the organization, and how politics and things can be achieved through union activities and political action committees. And therefore, I feel that the Frank Goodnow's theory on administration and politics and how they influence administration is more relevant to current practices than the theory set forth by Woodrow Wilson. In conclusion, we touched on a few theories that are some of the founding theories in public administration. Mary Parker Follett's theory on reciprocal relationships, Henri Fayol and his 14 Principles of Management, and how it had one of the principles of initiative relate to that reciprocal relationships and transformational leadership. We talked about Frederick Winslow Taylor and scientific management, Max Weber and bureaucracy, as well as Woodrow Wilson and Frank Goodnow, and how politics and influence administration. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you very much.